The Magician's Nephew, written by C.S. Lewis. Narrated by Molly, Crystal, and Catherine. Chapter 5. The Deplorable Word.
Who has awaked me? Who has broken the spell?
I think it must have been me,
Said Diggory.
You?
Said the Queen, laying her hand on his shoulder. A white, beautiful hand, but Diggory could feel that it was strong as steel pincers.
You? But you are only a child. A common child. Anyone can see at a glance that you have no drop of royal or noble blood in your veins. How did such as you dare to enter this house?
We've come from another world, by magic,
Said Polly, who thought it was high time the Queen took some notice of her as well as Diggory.
Is this true?
Said the Queen, still looking at Diggory and not giving Polly even a glance.
Yes, it is.
Said he. The Queen put her other hand under his chin and forced it up so that she could see his face better. Diggory tried to stare back, but he soon had to let his eyes drop. There was something about hers that overpowered him. After she had studied him for well over a minute, she let go of his chin and said,
You are no magician. The mark of it is not on you. You must be only the servant of a magician. It is on another's magic that you have traveled here.
It was my Uncle Andrew.
At that moment, not in the room itself, but from somewhere very close, there came first a rumbling, then a creaking, and then a roar of falling masonry, and the floor shook.
There is great peril here,
Said the Queen.
The whole palace is breaking up. If we are not out of here in a few minutes, we shall be buried under the ruin.
She spoke calmly, as if she were merely mentioning the time of day.
Come,
She added, and held out her hand to each of the children. Polly, who was disliking the Queen and feeling rather sulky, would not have let her hand be taken if she could have helped it. But though the Queen spoke calmly, her movements were as quick as thought. Before Polly knew what was happening, her left hand had been caught in a hand so much larger and stronger than her own that she could do nothing about it.
This is a terrible woman.
Thought Polly.
She's strong enough to break my arm with one twist, and now that she's got my left hand, I can't get at my yellow ring. If I tried to stretch across to get my right hand into my left pocket, I mightn't be able to reach it before she asked me what I was doing. Whatever happens, we mustn't let her know about the rings. I do hope Diggory has the sense enough to keep his mouth shut. I wish I could get a word with him alone.
The Queen led them out of the Hall of Images into a long corridor, and then through a whole maze of halls and stairs and courtyards. Again and again they heard parts of the great palace collapsing, sometimes quite close to them. Once a huge arch came thundering down only a moment after they had passed through it. The Queen was walking in quickly. The children had to trot to keep up with her. But she showed no sign of fear. Diggory thought,
She's wonderfully brave and strong. She's what I call a queen. I do hope she's going to tell us the story of this place.
She did tell them certain things as they went along.
that is the door to the dungeons.
She would say, or,
That passage leads to the principal torture chambers.
or,
This was the old banqueting hall where my great-grandfather bade 700 nobles to a feast and killed them all before they had drunk their fill. They had had rebellious thoughts.
They came at last into a hall larger and loftier than any they had yet seen. From its size and from the great doors at the far end, Diggory thought that now at last they were coming to the main entrance. In this he was quite right. The doors were dead black, either ebony or some black metal which is not found in our world. They were fastened with great bars. Most of them were too high to reach and all too heavy to lift. He wondered how they would get out. The Queen let go of his hand and raised her arm. She drew herself up to her full height and stood rigid. Then she said something which they couldn't understand, but it sounded horrid, and made an action as if throwing something towards those doors. And those high and heavy doors trembled for a second as if they were made of silk, and then crumbled away till there was nothing left for them but a heap of dust in the threshold. Whistled Diggory.
Has your master magician, your uncle, power like mine?
Asked the Queen, firmly seizing Diggory's hand again.
But I shall know later. In the meantime, remember what you have seen. This is what happens to things and to people who stand in my way.
Much more light than they had yet seen in that country was pouring in through the now empty doorway, and when the queen led them out through it, they were not surprised to find themselves in the open air. The wind that blew in their faces was cold, yet somehow stale. They were looking from a high terrace, and there was a great landscape spread out below them.